The night my grandmother died, she called my name, even though she had already stopped breathing. I heard it clearly. Nkem, come here. Till today, I still do not know if it was her spirit or something else. My name is Nkem. I am an old woman now. My hair has turned white like the cotton that grows near the river. My hands shake when I hold a cup of tea. But the memory I am about to tell you is as fresh in my mind as the smell of rain on red earth. It happened many years ago in the small village where I was born. Our village was surrounded by tall palm trees that whispered whenever the wind passed through them. The roads were made of red earth, and when children ran across them, dust would rise like smoke. Most houses were mud huts with thatched roofs. In the morning, women swept the compound with long brooms made from palm fronds. My grandmother, Mama Ojiogo, lived in the last hut at the edge of the village. People respected her, but they also feared her a little. Not because she was wicked, but because she knew things. Some people said she could see dreams before they happened. Others said the spirits of our ancestors visited her at night. Whenever people had strange problems, they came quietly to her hut, and most times, they left with answers. But she never spoke about these things with me. Instead, she warned me about something else, a secret. I was only 12 years old the first time she mentioned it. One evening, the sun was setting behind the palm trees. The sky was orange, and the smell of roasted corn from the market filled the air. I sat beside her while she peeled cassava. Suddenly, she stopped. Her eyes became serious. Nkem, she said slowly, there is something in this family that must never be spoken of. I laughed. At that age, everything sounded like a story. What secret? I asked. She looked around the compound as if someone might be listening. Then she whispered, if you ever hear your name called at night, and you are sure nobody is there, do not answer. A cold feeling passed through my body. Why? I asked. She did not answer. Instead, she stood up and walked into the hut. From that day, she never spoke about it again. Life continued as normal. I went to the village school. I followed my mother to the market. I fetched water from the stream with other girls. Sometimes, we laughed so loudly that the elders shouted at us. And at night, we sat around fires listening to stories. But one thing always stayed in my mind, my grandmother's warning. Do not answer if you hear your name at night. Years passed. I grew older. Then one Harmattan season, my grandmother became very sick. The wind was cold and dry. Dust filled the air. Leaves fell from trees like tired birds. She stopped coming outside. My mother and aunties took turns caring for her. One evening, the village healer came. After he left, everyone became quiet. I knew something was wrong. That night, I slept on a mat in her hut. The oil lamp burned softly. My grandmother lay on the bed, breathing slowly, very slowly. Around midnight, her breathing stopped. My mother cried softly. My auntie covered her face with cloth. People began gathering outside the hut. Someone ran to inform the elders. I sat quietly in the corner. My heart felt heavy. But something strange happened then. Very strange. The lamp suddenly flickered. The wind outside stopped. Everything became silent. Then I heard it. Soft, very soft. Nkem, come here. My heart began beating fast. I looked at the bed. My grandmother's body had not moved. Her eyes were closed. But the voice came again. Nkem, come closer. I felt fear climb slowly inside me. Then I remembered her warning. Do not answer if you hear your name at night. My throat became dry. I stayed silent. The voice came one more time, but this time it did not sound like my grandmother. It sounded angry. For many years after that night, I tried to convince myself that what I heard was only my imagination. But deep in my heart, I knew it was not. After my grandmother's burial, life slowly returned to normal in the village. Women went back to the market. Men returned to their farms. Children played football with balls made from tied plastic bags. But something in our compound had changed. At night, our dogs began barking at nothing. Sometimes they barked toward my grandmother's empty hut. Other times, they barked toward the forest. The elder said it was nothing. Dogs bark at spirits, they said. But I noticed something else. Some nights, just before sleep came, I heard footsteps outside. Slow footsteps, like someone walking carefully around the hut. Whenever I checked, nobody was there. One night, I told my mother. She laughed. "You read too many stories," she said. But the strange things continued. Then one evening, something happened that made me remember my grandmother's warning again. I had gone to the stream to fetch water. The sun was already setting. Most girls had left. I walked back alone along the red earth road. Halfway home, I heard my name, Nkem. I turned quickly. Nobody. Only palm trees moving slowly in the wind. I continued walking. Then the voice came again. "Nkem, wait." This time, it sounded exactly like my grandmother. My whole body froze. The same cold feeling from the night she died returned. I remembered her warning. Do not answer. So I kept walking, faster. The voice called again. But this time, it sounded different. Not like my grandmother anymore. It sounded deeper, almost like two voices speaking together. Nkem. I ran. I ran until I reached the compound. My mother scolded me for spilling water from the clay pot. But I did not explain. Because I was afraid. Afraid that speaking about it might make it stronger. Months passed. Then the twist came. The thing that changed everything. One night during the dry season, the village elders gathered under the big udala tree. They were discussing something serious. I hid behind a nearby hut to listen. What I heard made my heart stop. An old man spoke quietly. It has started again. Another elder asked, "Who heard it?" The old man pointed. "To Mama Ojugo's granddaughter." My breath caught. They were talking about me. Another elder sighed. "To Mama Ojugo's granddaughter." My breath caught. They were talking about me. Another elder sighed. "We hoped the secret would die with her." Then the oldest man in the village spoke. His voice was heavy. "Long ago, before this village was built, something lived in the forest." The elders nodded. He continued. "It calls people by their names. If they answer, it takes their shadow." My heart began pounding. The elder continued speaking. "The only family that knew how to stop it was Mama Ojugo's family." Silence fell. Then someone asked a question that changed my life. "So, who will keep the secret now?" The old man answered slowly. "The girl, me." The next morning, the village elders sent for me. I was shaking as I walked to the udala tree where they waited. The oldest elder looked at me carefully. "You heard the voice," he said. It was not a question. I nodded slowly. He sighed. "Your grandmother was the last guardian. Now it is you." I did not understand. "What guardian?" I asked. The elder leaned closer. Then he told me the truth my grandmother had hidden all my life. Many generations ago, something came from the deep forest. It was not an animal. It was not a spirit. Nobody knew what it truly was. But it had one terrible ability. It could call people by their names. If someone answered, that person would slowly become empty. They would walk, eat, talk, but their soul would belong to the thing in the forest. The elders called it the caller. My grandmother knew how to stop it, not by fighting it, but by refusing it. If nobody answered its call, it remained weak. But if someone answered, it grew stronger. The elder looked into my eyes. "That is why she warned you." A cold wind passed through the leaves above us. Then the elder said something that made my heart sink. It has started calling again. That night, I heard it again, clearer than before. Nkem. I sat on my mat, sweating. My heart beat loudly in my ears. The voice came again. "Come outside." I stayed silent. Then the voice changed. It sounded like my mother. Nkem, open the door. My hands trembled. But I remembered. Do not answer. The voice became angry, very angry. Then something hit the wall of the hut. Once. Twice. Then silence. For many years after that night, it continued. Sometimes once a month, sometimes once a year. The voice still calls my name, even now that I am an old woman, but I have never answered.
because I know something terrible, something my grandmother understood. The voice does not stop calling. It only waits for one moment of weakness, one moment of curiosity, one small answer. And sometimes, late at night, when the wind moves through the palm trees, I hear another name being called in the distance. Not mine, someone else's. And that is why I'm breaking my grandmother's warning today. Because if you ever hear your name called when nobody is there, please do not answer. Because if you do, the caller will finally leave my village and come looking for you.